Coming up in today's video, Anthony Gordon, has he agreed personal terms with Bayern Munich today? The first Newcastle United player has been announced in his country's 26-man squad going to the World Cup in North America this summer. My thoughts on whether I like or dislike the new home shirt, which is all but confirmed, including the third shirt too. Plus, are we going north of the border for pre-season this summer and this Sunday's final home game of the season against West Ham? A lot of fans are saying that hope will lose, so it would send Spurs down. All that coming up. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, welcome back to the latest video on the channel. You join me here at a beautiful rising sun country park once again on this midweek Wednesday afternoon. It was chucking down this morning, but the sun is out. So I thought, well, it's nice, and I'm along this way doing a couple of errands before I head home. I want to discuss a few news items on Newcastle United because while it's not so busy on the pitch with only 2 games remaining of this season, it is always busy off it. So let's get started. The first news item is Anthony Gordon. On X this morning, TalkSport posted that he has agreed terms with the Bavarian giants Bayern Munich. But Lee Ryder, the chief Newcastle writer of the Chronicle, came out and said later on that he's spoken to the club and they've dismissed this. Now, we know David Hopkinson has already said that the club haven't really necessarily decided on what they're doing in terms of player sales, but they want to become a trading club. And look, I think this is going to happen because the main stumbling block at the moment between Newcastle and Bayern, whether this is true or not, is going to be the transfer fee, because they value him at 55 million, but Newcastle value him at 75 million pounds. And I think that is justified. But why do I think it's going to happen? Because, well, it's constantly in the news. It's a bit like Isak, but we don't want the Isak drama of last summer. And the club haven't really moved to dismiss this so much. I know it's came out this morning, but I think that's more to protect the player in the last 2 games in case he gets played. But I think it is going to happen. You're not in the news this much in terms of a transfer if you're not wanting to move away. And I've already said in a previous video that his agents were spotted in Barcelona last week, speaking to Barcelona former player and sporting director Deco. And other clubs are interested in him too, in terms of Liverpool wanted him 2 years ago, but they withdrew their interest. Arsenal have been known to be interested in him too, and also the current European champions and Champions League finalists, Paris Saint-Germain. But yeah, I think it is going to happen. And why do I think Newcastle United are right to stick to their guns of £75 million? Well, I'll put the stats on the screen now, but Gordon, 2 years ago, he signed a long-term deal until 2030. In 152 appearances for Newcastle, he's got 39 goals and 28 assists. He's also an England international. He will be going with Thomas Tuchel's squad to North America this summer. He's got 17 England caps. And in the Champions League this season, he scored 10 goals in 12 games. And he's got 17 goals in all competitions this season. So yeah, that backs up why Newcastle United are right to demand £75 million, in my opinion, for Gordon. So I think it'll happen. And when do I think it should happen? I think it should be before the World Cup starts, because yes, you can sit on it and wait until after the World Cup to see if he has a good World Cup and get more money for him. However, you know, these European clubs probably won't go that high if it adds more money to his value in terms of, well, mainly Barcelona and Bayern Munich. PSG might, but it's a risk. And then those clubs mightn't be interested. Then you're lumbered with an unhappy player. So I think once the game's done against Fulham on Sunday week, then we should look to get him out before the World Cup's done. Then we've got time to get his replacement in. Now, the first Newcastle United player has been announced in his country's squad going to the World Cup in North America this summer, and that is Sweden's Anthony Elanga. Yes, he's in the 26-man squad. And you know what? I'm going to wish him well. I know a lot of people will raise eyebrows that he's been underwhelming in his first season for us, not justifying his £55 million fee, only doing a few flittering performances in Europe. And also, I know people might have a bit of a beef with the way Sweden qualified for the World Cup, going through the back door, if you like, with their Nations League performances, getting them in the playoffs, and also the way Alexander Isak left the club last summer. But look, I'm looking at the bigger picture. If Elanga can go off and perform for his country in the World Cup and it brings him back a better player, then I'm all for it. So, well done, Anthony. Now, on to a controversial subject, and that is the new home shirt. It's all but confirmed. We've seen concepts fly flying around with Seller on, but we all know that we're looking for a new, better sponsor this summer, though our chances have been hurt we're not qualifying for Europe, so we mightn't be able to get as good a sponsor as we'd hope for. But the Seller's there basically to give you an idea of what it would look like with a sponsor. Now, players rumoured they've taken part in the photo shoot already are Bruno, Joe Linton, Tonali and Hall. But a player who was a glaring omission is who I've just talked about, Anthony Gordon. So that's a telling sign. However, what do I think of the home shirt? Well, my opinion, I don't like it. I think it's awful. And you've seen what Adidas announced yesterday. They announced that they're releasing Juventus's new home shirt. And what it reminded me of is our home shirt back in the 2005-06 season, the one with the gold Northern Rock sponsor and the stripes on the sleeves, albeit I don't think anyone back then paid attention to the washing instructions on the label, and after a few washes everything started peeling off. But it harks me back 20 years, and you're just thinking, why couldn't they have done that for us? Because look, I know it's a bit like left field and they want to try something different, but at the end of the day, black and white stripes aren't that difficult to get wrong, and why fix something that isn't broken? And look, what do the Mackhams call us? They call us the barcodes. And yeah, you can laugh at that. We call each other's clubs all sorts of names, most I won't mention on here, but the barcodes, that's exactly what it looks like. And all I'll say is, if you go out and buy that this summer, if it is indeed legit, and you stand next to a self-serve till, well, be careful, because you might be charged for the shirt twice. But I don't like it at the moment, and I say at the moment because opinions can change. When it's in the club shop, I'll do an official video on it, like trying it on, giving you my opinions, what I think of it. But as it stands at the moment, look, it's got like the stripes down there, then it's got the thinner ones. And I know a lot of people weren't happy with this season's home shirt in terms of sort of like had the sort of zigzag lines. What are the jig-jag? I'm on about jig-jag. Zigzag lines in between the stripes. But you know what? It's grown on us. So that has a chance to grow on us. But at the moment, I really don't like it. Hate's a strong word, so I wouldn't say I hate it, but it's minging. But I'll do a video when it comes out in the shop and I'll give my opinion trying it on, what I think of it in the flesh, because the Adidas stripes here as well, the blue ones, I really don't like them. So yeah, there's a lot of winning over to do for me in terms of that shirt. But one I do like, if it is indeed true, is the third one. Now, there's a couple of pictures doing the rounds, and I'll tell you which one I prefer in a moment. But the first one is Lewis Hall. He's in a sort of dark royal blue shirt, and it's a V-neck collar, and it's blue, white and blue, the design. Then you've got the 1976 to 83 badge here, left pectoral, and then you've got on your right pectoral would be a white Adidas trefoil, and then the sleeves are solid white at the end and the white Adidas stripes. But the second one, it's a darker blue, and it's sort of got like a brick pattern like in like the body of the shirt, and then it's sort of blue, white, blue at the end of the sleeves. Again, it's white Adidas stripes going down the sleeves. Then you've got the 76 to 83 crest again. That's the one with the castle and the magpie in front of it, the round one, which was seen on last season's home shirt on the back of the neck. And then you have it's a V-neck, but this time it's white, blue, white. So yeah, my opinion on that, I really like it. I'd buy either, but if I had to pick between the two of them, I would choose the latter one, the one with like sort of the brick pattern in it. I think that looks nice, and I think that's going to be a big seller. And that's not a pun about our current sponsors, by the way. I just mean it's beautiful. I know a lot of people will say, oh well, it looks like the Scottish national team's top, but you know what, it is a nice shirt, and it's certainly going to do far better if the home shirt is legit than the home shirt that I've just discussed that looks like a barcode. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens, but it is said that Newcastle aren't going to be wearing that home top this Sunday. It used to be tradition in seasons gone by where you'd wear it on the final home game of the season, so all the fans would buy it, it would be in the shops. But I think in this scenario, it's probably best that it's not available, because at the moment, I know it's social media, and I know I said opinions can change, but it's horrid. So yeah, We'll wait and see what happens with the shirts this summer. Now, some news broke this afternoon, again from Lee Ryder of the Chronicle, and it's regarding Newcastle United's pre-season plans. Now, nothing's confirmed yet, it's not official, but we already know that the club are going to La Manga in Murcia in pre-season, and they're looking to have a friendly against the likes of, say, Valencia. But there will be a gap in the calendar because the season, because of the World Cup, doesn't start until the 23rd of August. And about the week before that, we know it'll be the Sella Cup, and Gian Piero Gasparini's AS Roma team are rumoured to be the opposition coming for the Sella Cup. However, but there'll be a gap between that, and I think, this is just my opinion by the way, at the end of July, start of August, it's said we're going to be playing up at Murrayfield Stadium in Edinburgh against Everton. Now, I'm all for that if that happens because, yes, it's a short trip just over the border. A lot of people will be booking the trains up to go there, maybe for a couple of nights, go on the drink, or a lot of people will be driving up as well. I think I'm going to drive up. I've already been discussing it with my mates this afternoon there. When it was announced, I said, would you fancy it? So we said, we'll go for a couple of nights. I'll drive up. I've done that drive about 30, 40 times. It's a beautiful drive, and Edinburgh's one of my favourite cities. So, yeah, 30-odd thousand Geordies going north of the border for a pre-season game. That'll be carnage. So I, for one, have got my fingers crossed. I really hope that comes to fruition. But that's what the pre-season schedule's looking like at the moment. We've got La Manga against Spanish La Liga opposition, waiting for confirmation. Then it's looking like Edinburgh. Then we're going to round that off with a Sella Cup game, and it's set to be against Roma. So yeah, watch this space as well. Now, on to the final bit of Newcastle United news, and it's arguably more controversial than the new home shirt, and it is this Sunday's final home game of the season at St James's Park, 5:30 kick-off against the Hammers. Now, why is it more controversial? It's because of fans' opinion online. Now, we know that we're mathematically safe now, even though we should have held on and beat Nottingham Forest. That point mathematically kept up, even though I said for ages we weren't going down. So it came down to two teams, West Ham and Spurs, and the team currently in the bottom three are West Ham, and we all know they lost in controversial fashion against Arsenal the weekend just gone, and I couldn't believe that. Can I just say, my two penneth on this is, yes, it was a foul on Raya, but you saw Rice pulling someone down behind him, other fouls and pulls going on in the box, and let's be honest, Arsenal have done that all season, yet when it happens to them, because it's a title race, the goal's overturned, even though Callum Wilson fired it well across the line and West Ham should have got a point. But yeah, Arsenal got the win, so it leaves West Ham in the mire, and basically we have a big say in the relegation battle because after West Ham play us, they're at home to Leeds, who are already mathematically safe, and then Spurs, they go to Chelsea, another big battle at Stamford Bridge. Remember the 2-2 draw in the season where they were fighting with Leicester for the title 10 years ago, and the draw ended up giving Leicester the title, and then they finished the season at home to Everton. But a lot of fans, and this is where I've took issue with it, is saying, we want Newcastle to lose. We want Newcastle to lose. Yes, Newcastle fans saying they want us to lose to send Spurs down. Now, sorry, I just had to cut to down here because there were a lot of dog walkers out there and a few big puddles I had to get around, so I didn't want to go straight into one when I was recording. So where was I? Look, from an objective point of view, not in terms of wanting Newcastle United to lose, I can understand the beef with Spurs, because when our takeover happened over 4.5 years ago, they were one of the most vocal clubs. They were very vociferous against it, and they didn't want a nation state threatening their place in the top 6 clubs with the most revenue. And they felt they were the most under threat compared to the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Man U and Chelsea. And they hurried these rules through. But this is an area in itself. They said, we need to protect the integrity of the Premier League. But what did Spurs try and do? They tried to go off and form a European Super League. So, yeah, pot kettle black. But anyway, wanting Newcastle United to lose when you're a Newcastle fan, I'm sorry, that's just something I can't advocate and I can never get behind. I just feel it's utter lunacy. Look, when we went down in 2009 and 2016, we deserved it. If you finish in the bottom 3, you deserve to go down, because it's not just bad luck or anything like that. It's across 10 months, 38 games. You make your own luck. And yes, there'll be a few decisions here and there, but in my opinion, they'll generally even themselves out, lying themselves out, if you like. But if you finish in the bottom three after 38 games, you deserve to go down. We did in those 2 seasons. Fortunately, we bounced back both times. But if Spurs stay up or West Ham stay up next weekend, well, you know what? In my opinion, I couldn't care less. Yes, it would be more funny if Spurs went down. I'd find it hilarious and it would set them back. Now, look, I also understand people's concerns that De Zerbi's come in. He's got them on a bit of an unbeaten run. They look much better now, much more organised, much more of a team, despite them still missing some key players. And if they do stay up and they're in the Premier League next season, then he could help them push on and they'd have the bigger revenue and more wages to offer players if we were to compete with them. I can understand that, but I just think whoever goes down, I couldn't care less if it's Spurs or West Ham. If you want to be better than them, just make sure you're better off the pitch as well as on it. And we've been better than Spurs since the takeover, in my opinion. I know they've won the Europa League and we've won the Carabao Cup. And you could possibly argue that the Europa League is bigger because it gets you in the Champions League. But we've qualified for the Champions League through the league. And yeah, I don't care who goes down. That's my honest opinion. Whoever goes down or who stays up, let it be done organically. If Spurs end up being the better team and stay up, they deserve to stay up. West Ham deserve to go down. We could then look to go in for Jared Bowen, even though I know Liverpool are interested. If West Ham stay up and Spurs go down, then that's one of the so-called big six who are down, and that'll set them back years. Even if they come back up after one season, it will set them back. But yeah, I just care about Newcastle United. I just want Newcastle United to win. I could not, in any realm, just fathom Newcastle United throwing a game just to see Spurs going down. Look, if West Ham, I totally understand that if West Ham come to St James's Park on Sunday and they outplay us, or they're just where both teams are competing, they're both in it, and then they happen to get a wonder goal or say it was a penalty of our own making, then you've got no complaints. But to actively want a team you say you support to lose, to permutate another team going down because of what they've done in the past, sorry, I just can't get behind that. I want Newcastle United to go out this Sunday evening and smash West Ham 3-4, 5-0. I know it probably won't happen, and I know we haven't got much to play for, maybe 1 or 2 league places, so it's just basically league position prize money, but I will never advocate Newcastle United throwing a game just to see another team go down. I'm sorry, I just can't get behind that. You might think differently, but that's my opinion. Right, I'm going to wrap that video up there. If you want to discuss anything I've talked about today, please do jump in the comments. Where do you stand on Anthony Gordon? Would you be happy to see him go for the right price, or do you prefer him to stay? Please let me know your reasons why, whichever side of the fence you're on. The new home shirt and the rumoured third shirt, do you like one, both, or neither? Would you be buying them this summer? Or pre-season plans? Would you be going up to Edinburgh as one of the 30,000 Geordies if they do get announced? And also this Sunday, where do you stand on this debate about Newcastle United's result, and should they lose the game to send Spurs down? Or do you think that Newcastle United should be looking to win a game no matter what? But please do like, please do subscribe, and please do hype the video to help the channel out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye bye.